This is the Digital Key, Season 3, Chapter 2. In this episode, we will be discussing how two digital streams within a single vessel split into two vessels. In the last episode, we talked about how distinct digital streams are linked to a reversed spatial orientation around some common object. The idea was that each stream is described by a chiral universe centered around some common object. Thus, you can witness the switching between these chiral universes by the reversal of a spatial orientation around some common object. In this episode, I would like to first talk about how dimension arises out of dual valence. Then, I would like to comment on when two digital streams will present in a single vessel versus splitting between two vessels. If you recall, in the complete series, we stated that consciousness in a dimensionless universe would be unified. In the context of dual valence, the example in the last episode described a situation where there were two streams describing the same vessel. That is, in switching between that vessel, the subject observed a flipping of spatial orientation of some object. In this episode, I would like to start with a simple question. At what point does a distinct identity become a distinct person? In the complete series, we discussed the mirroring method, whereby in a social setting you mirror someone repeatedly in terms of their social gestures, and otherwise, followed by a breaking of that mirroring pattern, to create a glitch. In the context of structures, mirroring represents emotional coupling, common phase associated with given impulses. It is also seen in the tautological flow of consciousness from vessel to vessel, whereby the trendsetter acts out the impulse for the second through reverse substitution. But we can also see that there is a chirality to the experience of those two mirroring subjects, centered around some common point of orientation. And we can say that although there may be some common flow of consciousness through their vessels, they are still distinct vessels and experiencing subjects. So to some degree we have a situation of a splitting of into two digital streams centered around that point of common orientation. If we imagine the three structures, two digital and one analog between them in dual valence, we can say that if impulse 1 is negated in the first digital structure, an analog structure, and impulse 2 affirmed in the analog structure, and third digital structure, this represents only one out of two possible arrangements of these structures, which maintains dual valence. That is, there are 8 possible conformations of these two impulses in these three structures, of which only 2 preserve dual valence. Since we see that the analog structure is only actually contradictory for the same subject in all 3 structures, when in the conformation of dual valence, we can see that in 75% of possible conformations the analog structure is not totally contradictory. Thus, we can understand that in 75% of conformations of these 3 structures, digital stream 1 pertaining to the first structure, and digital stream 2 pertaining to the third structure, will describe different vessels or people. So to answer the question posited above, at what point does a distinct identity become a distinct person? The answer is, whenever dual digital streams are not fully contradictory. This occurs when the structure is not in dual valence. Furthermore, we see that the occasion of multiple vessels existing within the same spatial space centered around some common point of orientation occurs in the absence of dual valence of two digital streams. Spatiality, or dimensionality, or duplication arises whenever parallel streams are not in dual valence. That's the end of the podcast for today.